channeling the spell. This is going to be a Fire Raga. It doesn't kill somehow, and it kills Naya to land a kill. Oh my god! Here, apparently not, because she is going for the back line. This is instant casting. Might have a chance. What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL Season 4, Week 9 of the Wezette League. And this is going to be our first league where we'll be able to wrap up the regular season and see how things are going into the playoffs. Let's take a look at the standings. First of all, we've got Maraxus all alone in first place. Coach of Bento Box Bullies 9-1 record has been bullying the rest of the league. Has already clinched the first seed. Even if he were to lose this week, he would still be first place, so he's in very, very good position. The next three teams have already clinched playoff spots, but where they will fall, we don't entirely know yet. First of all, Isvar and Nemo face off against each other in this week's matchup. If Isvar wins, he clinches the second seed no matter what. However, if Nemo wins, it depends on what happens in the Hoka battle. If Hoka beats Mao, then Hoka would be the second seed. But if Hoka loses to Mao and Nemo wins, Nemo would be the second seed. So they will be shuffling around somewhere there in the 2 through 4 seeds, but where they will end up, we're not entirely sure yet. The next three teams are the ones that it's most important for this week. Mifel, Greatestness, and Dervis. Mifel currently right now is 6-4, but is facing off against Dervis this week. If Mifel wins, he clinches a spot. If he loses and Greatestness wins, we get into a weird spot where we have to do some tiebreaker matches to settle things because they would all be the same record and all be 1-1 against each other. So we'll see if that scenario ends up happening. If it does, we're gonna have some extra battles at the end of this fight. Otherwise, if Mifel wins, Greatestness will clinch a playoff spot immediately, whether or not he wins. So that won't matter. Dervis, pretty simple for him. If he wins, he keeps himself alive at a minimum. If he wins and Greatestness loses, he clinches. The other 5 teams down at the bottom here: Groen of Bag of Cats, Alor of Royally Funked, Taio, Witch of the Empire, Shadow 91 of the Vandergan, and Mao of Norse Gang are all looking to play spoiler this week, and we'll see if any of them can do it. Let's jump into the fights. Kicking things off for week number 9 of the Wezette League, we're going to ease into the matches that have playoff implications here, as this one does not have any, but it should be a good fight here as two great players going up against each other. Alor on one side with the Mashri Horn, Winter Wrath, and that is a Winter Ramada sighting. Very, very cool to see. On the other side, we've got Shadow with double Ice Archer Girls with the Eliza, Rosa, and Krace. So a very undercosted team coming out from Shadow, but it's very, very cool to see, and I love the fact that without playoff implications on the line, that he's going spicy here. And I'd love to see the Winter Ramada as well. She's going to pop that Vega TMR, get a chance to berserk the enemy team here. She's going to start walking forward. Krace, can she find damage? She certainly can. Arm shot comes out for 3,600. Did that land a disable? It did not. It looks like Mashri going to come in with the Calamity Stronghold. So now Winter Ramada does have a one-hit barrier for herself, which is going to be very nice. She basically can't get status by pretty much anything as well. But she might just die to this Eliza if she gets an opportunity. Triple Flight comes in. That's a good chunk of damage. Fortunately, that one-hit barrier probably saving her life there, it looks like, as the Rite of Refuge comes out from Winter Wrath. A nice AoE buff. This is the buff that Shells gets, which is very, very useful. Aimfire coming out from the Krace, though, to try and get that missile attack up. And does Shadow's Rosa get a chance to do any damage? No, she's just going to go Righteous Prayer again. So she is safe in the back. She says, I'll worry about that fight when it gets to me, but here it comes as Winter Ramada is bringing it to him. And this is actually pretty huge because Holy Knight's Judgment, this comes out. This gives her a 2-hit barrier that cannot be broken. And Krace barely hangs on, but she lands the Berserk, which means she does not get to do what she would normally want to do. But Triple Flight might come through, and the Triple Flight is going to kill. Those first 2 hits get absorbed, but the 3rd hit is enough to take her out. And this is looking okay for Shadow, actually, as the limiter off comes out from the Mashri, but she is not going to get any closer to this fight, as these double mace units slowly will enter. Winter Wrath does have the AI to actually approach the enemy team, as that 65 HP for Shadow's Krace manages to keep her alive. Can a Berserk auto make the difference in this fight? Actually, it might be more than that, as she gets healed to full from the Rosa, so now this is just a full 3v2 in Shadow's favor. Eliza going to go next with 25 AP. Triple Flight again. She really likes using this ability, obviously because of those one-hit barriers that Mashri is giving to everybody, but she's out of AP right now, and Winter Wrath is ready to deal some damage, I think, as Rosa's going to go next. And what does she go for at this moment? It looks like Befuddling Spear falls not quite enough to take out the Eliza. The Berserk Krace might be in range to deal damage. Yes, she is. 1,000 damage, getting herself some CT up. The Isyun is going to remove the Berserk, so Krace might get an opportunity to deal more damage this fight. Mashri going to go Hallowed Ray, though, on her for 4820. Apparently couldn't reach the Eliza, as I think she would have killed her. It looks like a height range issue, as the standard attack is going to get her agility up. Just give herself a little bit of AP, but Winter Wrath is inevitable. I think this is probably a double kill if I had to guess. She's going to start channeling an AoE. Rosa, can you heal this team up before this damage goes off? She cannot. Celestial Dyad comes out. That is a double kill for the for Alcor's team. Kiraga is going to whiff completely, and it looks like Alcor's still going to turn this fight around. Hallowed Ray comes in for 3,900. Rosa would have to get a full life to make a opportunity to come back here, as the Magical Strike is going to seal this deal. 6,000 damage is going to take out the Rosa. She's going to give a buff to her teammate just for shits and giggles. And that is a win for Royally Funked and Alcor. Next up to bat here is the Bag of Cats, coached by Hirokin on the right side versus the one-seeded Maraxus, coach of Bento Box Bullies. And I was curious to see what we would see out of this matchup, as it doesn't really have any playoff implications, but this is full spear versus full fist. Which weapon group is going to get the advantage here? So it's Winter, Luartha, McLeod, and Dialdo versus Etra, Raldor, and the Edward. And we've seen Etra pop off in Friday Night Fights. I believe it was from Maraxus, I believe, if I remember correctly. I don't remember for sure, as it looks like the Etra is going to go with the Padfoot TMR. This is Pisaro's TMR. Sworn 8's Pride Wind. This is a Wind Veritas TMR, obviously coming out from Dialdo. Incredibly effective at shutting down physical damage-based teams. But the store from Etra is going to give herself some really nice damage on the next turn if she is allowed to hit this Dialdo. Automel's Crux from the Edward is going to get rid of that AP Auto Restore, as it looks like that Wind Veritas TMR already paying huge dividends. Fight Like a Pirate comes out, the Ferris TMR on line 4, the Winter Luartha, as it looks like Bradley's is going to be used as well. So lots of haste around the battlefield at the moment. Raldor with 32 AP comes in with a Demolition Fist and completely does that, as McLeod is going to drop in one hit. Dialdo, does he have the accuracy to hit this Etra? I've seen this Etra before, and she's quite dodgy, and he actually goes for the sleep, which means he does not have a chance to hit. Fists of Frenzy and comes in for 3,300 damage. No Berserk or anything like that, as it looks like Winter Luartha is going to come in for the Paralyzing Edge, 4,200, I think that was, onto the Raldor. But Ed is finally going to join the fight, and this is trouble for Winter Luartha. I expect this to deal a lot of damage, as the defense debuff 9,200 is a lot. And not quite the one-shot this time. Can't join Raldor in that one-shot club, as Dialdo is going to go next here. Trying to channel another sleep, I assume. Raldor should be able to pick this up with a standard attack. He will do just that. Maraxus is continuing to bully the opposition here, as it looks like Etra should be able to go another time just for a standard attack. That looked more like a slap than a punch, if you ask me, but the sleep lands. Etra is going to go Night-Night. So it looks like she's not going to be able to do much for the rest of this fight, but Dialdo, what does he go for now? Does he go for damage on any of the other units? Resistance Break does land, but it's barely any damage. A lot of probably Earth and Pierce res on the Edward here. As it looks like Raldor, can he do a good chunk? He's going to go for the Limit Break, and this Limit Break hurts like a bee. Chasm Render comes out. How much damage is it going to do? 5,700. It's a very nice start here, as Edward should be able to clean this fight up with the elemental advantage here. Full Metal Fist is going to do 6,500 damage, and the Bento Box Bullies continue their streak this season. They're going to end the season 10-1 with that first seed. Very, very well done, and congratulations to Maraxus. Next up to bat is Mao, coach of Nora's Gang, versus Hisoka, coach of Eggplant Brigade. Hisoka still with an opportunity and a small chance at getting a first-round bye. If he were to win this battle versus Mao and Nemo beat Isvar, he would claim the second overall seed. So this is a pretty huge fight for him. Mao not having any sort of playoff implications, but certainly wants to play spoiler here, as it looks like Howlet, the Heavens Blade, Whisper, and Leela. So double dark magic tank alongside Howlet. We'll see if it can pay dividends versus this soul-based team from Hisoka. It looks like Little Leela going to go with the Wind Veritas TMR. So obviously a more magic-based team coming up from Hisoka. I mean, it's too physical compared to one magic, but the main carry is the magical threat, as it looks like Howlet is going to start channeling a spell here. I'm curious to see what he's going for, as it looks like the Divine Shelter coming out from the Whisper to try and get that Protect, that regen, all that good stuff. Keenblade from the Balo, and this is a very nice early turn rotation from Hisoka here, as Sage's Wisdom is online for the Soul. And he is a very, very healthy lad there as he's going to start walking forward. Resist magic coming out from the Mia, so obviously running that Spellblade sub, and it's Calamity Guard coming out from the Howlet. So that barrier going to be very, very useful. Soul should not be able to deal damage from here, but does go with the Trustmaster for King Bradley, getting that haste online. Immortal Spirit here for Balo, so he is nice and healthy. Going to have to die basically 3 times. He's got his Courage and his Super Balo re-raise. As it looks like Howlet is in range to start dealing damage. The Elemental disadvantage, however, Magia Arte, I could still see this doing a decent amount of damage. 4,200 is not too bad, and it also removes the haste, which is pretty massive here for Mao. Little Leela goes for the resist magic, though. It looks like she cannot land a silencing spell. I think that's because she's running Bowtie. If she had 3 movement, she might have been able to get in range, but honestly, not a bad decision by Mao, just giving some of that extra hate and trying to keep her back, making sure they get buffs online. Ahsoka's Soul going to go next, so Pyre of Chaos Instruction is so much damage. And man, oh man, this Howlet, the Heaven's Blade, just barely survives. Can he put in work here, though, and try and lifesteal back up damage? Heavenly Diffusion comes in for a very good chunk. Basically heals himself to full here, as Whisper is going to go next. Protection Break, 3,300 damage. And they're really starting to whittle down this Soul. But is it going to matter? Is he just going to one-shot everybody on this next attack here? As the Slowpoke is going to drop the unit attack resist, Soul's going to get an opportunity. And unless there is a casting time issue, it looks like Ahsoka might still be in good shape here. But Little Leela is going to go next. The silencing spell comes out, but it does not silence the Soul. And that is the person you need to land it on. Deflagrating Heat is good damage. Howlet the Heaven's Blade is going to barely survive, though. Trinity Burst comes down and kills the Howlet. And Ahsoka is in fantastic shape here with Little Leela and Whisper versus Soul and Balo. Salvation is going to come out from the Soul here. Whisper up next, though, is going to go for the Limit Break. White Wave is going to come out. I believe this drops Bravery, if I remember correctly. 2,400 damage down. It also drops piercing damage, apparently. That must have been a Limit Break upgrade that I missed. Little Leela going to come in with a Taunting Spell, and that kills the Soul. And it looked like it was over here for Mao, but he's going to turn it with the Whisper and Little Leela. And now it is Super Balo versus 2, and these are a bunch of low-cost units battling it out. I say that. Whisper's not a low-cost unit, but she is an OG for sure. She gets the standard attack off to get some AP. And it looks like the Taunting Spell is not quite enough to proc this Courage from Balo, but this is not over for Ahsoka. Balo is a monster when he gets his re-raise. Can he kill somebody in time, though? 11 actions left. I honestly think that's the biggest thing he's fighting is time. So it looks like Taunting Spell will kill this Balo, but he's going to come back with his massive re-raise. If he can kill one of these units, like, he could very easily turn this 1v2. This is certainly not over for Ahsoka, especially for the fact that they are stacking up right now. He's going to go behind him. Trinity Burst is going to land on both. He needs one more of those to win this fight, I think, as it looks like Whisper's going to go Protection Break. 2,900 damage, drop that defense. With the Blood Sword putting in work, she's going to just keep healing back up. Chicken Blade is going to drop Bravery along with that Limit Break. He just does not have a lot of damage, and these Dark Slash chains are really starting to add up. And Balo has another opportunity. He's going to go for the Blade Bash. It's going to knock out the Little Leela, but I said all he had to do was get the kill. That is not true. Whisper is putting in the work here in this fight. Bubbly Bamboozler comes out as they try to bamboozle me with how to say that, but they do not do it correctly, as it looks like Whisper is going to pick off this win. Mao is going to pull off the upset and play spoiler against Ahsoka, which is absolutely massive for the next fight, as that means the winner of Isvar versus Nemo will clinch the second seed, no questions asked. So very, very well done by Mao in this fight. We have the battle for the 2 seed going on here, guys. We have Elda's Angels coached by Isvar versus Lion's Guard coached by Nemo. And this is pretty massive here. The winner of this fight gets a first round bye, so this has very big playoff implications here. If you told me about halfway through the season that Isvar would be fighting on the last day for a first round bye, I don't know if I would have believed you, because he was so dominant. But Nemo has done very well in the back half of this season, so putting himself in position to try and steal that is pretty huge here. So it looks like Keenblade coming out from the Winter Moshri. This is Triple Pierce coming out from Isvar, going back to old reliable Elda, King of the Lions, his favorite unit in the game. Lorenzo's going to start channeling. I expect this to be a guard haste. And Nemo, this is not a super traditional Bart's team, but I love to see it. It's the Titus. Mustadio can proc follow-ups for Bart's, and we've seen this Mustadio put in work before for Nemo. Can he do it again? Is the massive barriers online for Elda? That's going to be pretty huge to mitigate any sort of follow-up damage that Bart's would have, however. As if you were not able to deal damage on the first attack, he doesn't follow up. So Revitalize coming in, getting the bells online. AP Auto Restore is huge. Keenblade coming out from the Bart's here. as it looks like Titus is going to get an opportunity to walk forward with a massive HP pool. 16,500 is quite a bit as he's going to start moving forward. Precision jump is going to do barely anything. Titus might not get the best reputation as a tank, but he is an absolutely fantastic missile and pierce tank, and that shows you right there how good he is at his job. So if this is the unit that... This is probably the unit you would want to bring into this full Pierce team, as he soaks up that Lion's Drain very, very well by the Elda. Nemo in very good position here to try and take over. Blade Blitz, though, is honestly tanked pretty well. That is an attack that we've seen do so much damage from Bart's before. And it looks like Isvar in a good position to tank it up. Are these AoE attacks from these two? If they are, that is huge, because they might not be able to take down Titus, but they might be able to take down Bart's, as two members are just going to jump way the hell up into the sky. Elda says, I don't know about jumping, but I am going to Binding Javelin this Mustadio. He's going to barely hang on. Can he land some sort of disable or petrify, though? Seal Evil comes in. No statuses. Precision jump is going to take out the Mustadio. So I take it back. And that means it looks like hate is no longer there for Titus, which is huge, because now Bart is susceptible. Blade Bash coming in does not land the stun. Bart needs to put in a ton of work on this next attack for Nemo to have a chance here. But he's going to get an opportunity. Blade Blitz going to come in again for a good chunk, but they both managed to hang on. And this gives them an opportunity to try and turn this fight. Way up into the sky she is going to go again. Is Lorenzo going to follow suit? He's thinking about it. He's thinking long and hard about it, and he's going to do the same thing. To the skies, says them. Jump is going to take out the Barts. Tons of damage from the Winter Luartha. And Nemo has had a fantastic season, but I think he is going to fall short of this first round bye. He is going to be heading into the quarterfinals in the playoffs here. He is going to make the playoffs, but the first round bye is going to be clinched by Isvar and Elda's Angels here, it looks like, as Dive of Destruction comes in for 1,500. Unless Titus is able to pull off the miracle comeback of a lifetime. This would be one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, is if he is able to come back here. He has Blade Bash. He does have an AoE heal-up attack, but I'm thinking that it's probably turned off based on what I'm seeing here. As it looks like Elda is going to go next, might be able to seal the deal. Binding Javelin comes in for 6,200, and Isvar and Elda's Angels. Using Elda in almost every fight this season, I think all but one. Elda's Angels being very, very impressive all season, is going to claim the 2 seed, so massive congratulations to him. Next up is the Witch of the Empire, coached by Taio, versus Elite, coached by Greatestness. Greatestness and his Axe Squad taking on the Esper King himself. And this should be a good fight, as Halloween Lucio is going to go for his massive physical health shield, which will be quite useful against the Stern Wing of Destiny, as Oceanic Protection being used by the Cyrell. So similar Trustmasters being used as well by Maverick and Greatestness. Obviously, great minds think alike here. Stern Wing of Destiny getting the AoE buff online. Grifford going to go for his own physical health shield. That is going to be hard for Stern to get through, however. Taio's Terra and Taio's Howlet both do magic damage. Howlet is fresh out of buffs, though, it looks like, as the Immortal Spirit is here for Terra. And is there any sort of Esper shenanigans that are going to come out from Taio this week? Do we see them? We'll have to see, as Howlet is just going to keep walking forward. He's got nothing else in the tank. As Halloween Lucio is going to use his own Trustmaster to get physical damage up and AP auto restore. Vega TMR used by Grifford, so using one of those fellow Axe users' Trustmasters. And Cyrell, what does she have? She's going to go Call of the Wild. The accuracy up, /tag piercing. But this is going to be a tough one for Taio, as I think Stern is probably not going to be able to deal much of any damage. He does have a barrier break, but is single target, and it is close range. So it's going to be hard to overcome, but he does have his re-raise online. Meltdown Plus, though, dealing pretty decent damage by the Terra. Honestly, for Taio's sake, I think he probably would have liked to see a little bit more. The Stella Artis coming out from the Howlet, though, with the Elemental Disadvantage. How much damage is he going to be able to do? That Limit Break animation is so damn cool. Does drop the Wind Attack resist, but Griffith soaks this up very, very well. Halloween Lucille going to go next with the King of the Dead Limit Break here. And he's going to give himself haste, which is going to be pretty massive for Greatestness. Might allow him to lap the enemy team. Not too much damage, though. I will say Howlet and Terra both soak that up pretty well. Looking at the turn order, it looks like multiple units going to get to go before Halloween Lucio does, though. So maybe the haste not going to be too impactful. But it's going to be hard to get through this Axe team, as Griffith is going to chain up as well. Massive damage this time onto the Howlet, and this time the Berserk lands with the Vega TMR, an absolutely clutch TMR coming in. Constricting Cleave is going to proc the Courage on Terra, but a Berserk Terra is a pretty useless Terra, unfortunately, for Taio. as Stern Wing of Destiny is going to come in with the Convergence Plus, but it's not going to do any damage because of that physical barrier. And Greatness is looking to try and win this fight here. He does not officially clinch a playoff spot with a win, but he at minimum keeps his season going. As that worst case scenario with a win here, he would be in a 3-way tiebreaker scenario where he would have to face off against another player. So we'll have to see what happens here as Halloween Lucio is going to go next. He's going to come in with the Mortal Draw, and that re-raise that you had, Stern, that is now gone. Cyrell probably going to be able to finish this off with a Disrupting Axe Throw. 4,700 damage is going to seal it. And Greatness coming into the end of the season hot here, picks up a win over Taio and keeps his season going. The last regulation fight for this season. Will we see any tiebreaker fights? As it looks like Lightning from FF13 alongside Ravis and Aldira is here for the Lightning Warriors. And Dervis is bringing out a reliable Starlight Elena alongside Lisette and Sylvie. Dervis, if he wins, would set up a perfect 3-way tiebreaker scenario with him, Greatness, and Meefle. So it'll be interesting what happens here, but if Meefle wins, they would clinch the 5th seed. So we'll have to see how this goes. The Aldira Limit Break is going to come off, getting massive CT to the party. Ravis is going to go Keen Blade, and we've seen this Cheese Blade technique come out before for Meefle, and it is incredibly powerful with Lightning, especially if she's able to get her follow-up attack going. This Lightning is on steroids. Fairy Guard comes out, the Winter Wrath TMR. This time Dispel Spread comes out, just one-shots a Starlight Elena, who needs the follow-up attack, as she is just going to dumpster that Elena before she ever even gets her courage off. Sylvie says, I'm going to go ahead and cast Full Life because I need you back there, friend, as Bedeviling Blade comes out, dropping the Man-Eater and also getting rid of some AP in the process. Lisette is going to go with the double Leg Breaker. You would think that would immobilize, but it did not, as the Full Life is going to land onto Starlight Elena, giving her an opportunity to fight back, but looking at the turn order, she might not get an opportunity. Lightning is going to go again, and she's got plenty of AP to do what she just did. Arm shot, another 10k, and she says, stay the hell down, as it looks like Sylvie is going to go next. Can she go into offensive mode and get any sort of damage down here? This Lightning is an absolute monster. I'll Protect Everyone should be renamed as it is her attacking skill. Blinding Cross comes in, no blind, but good damage onto both. And this looks like it is probably all but over here for Dervis here. His season, unfortunately, it looks like probably going to come to an end as Lisette is going to go for the standard attack, just get a little bit of AP back. But Lightning goes for Life Siphon 2, damage caps 14,000. And my goodness, this Lightning is terrifying, as it looks like Sylvie is going to go next. She's going to try her damnedest to try and get some more damage off. No, she's just going to go with the Knight's Blessing. This is the Mashri Horn TMR. Ildira going to go Fairy Guard, just going to keep buffing up. And Lightning, can she basically get her 4th kill of the game here? She's got 16 AP. Spark Strike is enough through the barrier. That is actually incredible, as this Lightning is just built freaking different. And Meefle is going to claim the 5th spot in the playoffs, which means Greatness will clinch these 6 spots. So that is all of our playoff teams decided, guys. Congratulations to them. Let's take a look at the standings. All right, guys, with 9 weeks of battles over and done with, here is a snapshot of the standings at the end of the season here. Let's start at the bottom with just these 6 teams who did not make it, unfortunately. We've got Dervis, Gorokin, Alcor, Taio, Mao, and Shadow 91. Honestly, very well done all season. I don't think there was ever a battle that you just knew for sure who was going to win. Even some of these lower teams like Shadow 91 and Mao pulled off some really big upsets against some of these bigger teams, or the teams that won a lot of games in the standings. So I think it's been a hell of a fun watch all season. Taio always pulling out some crazy Esper shenanigans has been a lot of fun. Alcor started off the season 0-4, but end up with 4 wins. I mean, the back half of the season did very, very well for himself. Gorokin picked up a huge upset versus Isvar earlier in the season, and Dervis, honestly, a bunch of wins himself, was this close to making the playoffs. So every team who didn't make it, I think, had their moments during the season, had some spots to shine, and I think that was really, really cool to see out of this league here. So taking a look at the top half, these are the 6 teams that do make the playoffs. We've got Maraxus of Bento Box Bullies. If there was any one team that's been separating themselves from everybody else, it would be him. The font on the right here, where I say first seed / bye, just means they clinched a bye. I didn't change the text from last week because Isvar of Elda's Angels with an 8-3 record also clinched a first round bye. The next 4 teams with Hoka of Eggplant Brigade, Nemo of Lions Guard, Meefle of the Lightning Warriors, and Greatness of Elite have all put themselves in the playoffs as well, and it should be really entertaining. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. All right, guys, so this is the playoff bracket for the Wezette League heading into the playoffs. First round battles are the 4 versus 5 seed and 3 versus 6 seed. This is going to be the same for every single league. The first seed is always going to play the winner of the 4-5 matchup. And the 2 seed is always going to play the winner of the 3-6 matchup. So this is something to really note here as the Wezette, Rundle, and Heinler leagues. The 2 teams who make the grand finals of their cup are going to qualify for the Champions League next season, which is really important if you're one of those first or second seeds, because that means essentially you just have to win one best of 3 to get yourself in that situation. All those wins you picked up in the regular season, basically giving you a boost and an advantage heading into it. So taking a look at next week's matchups, though, we've got Lions Guard coached by Nemo and Lightning Warriors coached by Neel, both with 7-4 records, so completely even up to this point. Nemo did get that head-to-head win earlier in the season, but this is going to be a best of 3, and obviously it'll be on a different map than it was last time, so it should be an entertaining series. I'm looking forward to seeing who can win that one. And obviously down at the bottom here, we've got Hoka of Eggplant Brigade, another 7-4 team, versus Greatness of Elite, 6-5 record. I don't believe I know who won that head-to-head. I'm not entirely sure who won the regular season battle, but I think it should be a pretty good one regardless. Both teams are quite strong. I think that should be a pretty even matchup here. We might even be able to get to see some Axe versus Axe, as Hoka has Viga and Yerma, and Greatness has both Grifford and Halloween Lucio. So it'd be interesting if we see any of that matchup coming out. And it looks like in the second round, Maraxus is waiting for the winner of the 4-5, and Isvar is waiting for the winner of 3-6. So this is the Wezette Cup coming into Season 4, guys. It should be really interesting. Excited to see who wins it. But until next time, have a wonderful day.